Landing humans on Mars. For decades, it's been the ultimate science fiction dream, right? But what if I told you NASA has a very real, surprisingly methodical plan to make it happen? It's not about one giant risky leap, but a series of really deliberate steps. In this explainer, we're going to break down that exact evolutionary roadmap, the plan that takes us from right here in our planetary backyard all the way to the red planet.
And yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's easy to say, let's go to Mars, but the reality is it represents a jump in complexity that's just way beyond anything humanity has ever even attempted in space. So how do you even start to chip away at a problem that massive?
Okay, so first things first, we have to wrap our heads around the true scale of the challenge here. I think the success of the Apollo moon landings left a lot of people thinking, well, we've been to the moon, how much harder can Mars be? The answer? So much harder. Mars isn't just the next step, it's a completely different class of problem.
And here it is, Mars, our horizon goal. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's one of the only other places in the solar system where life might have existed. I mean, what we learned there could tell us so much about Earth's own past and future. But getting there, well, it means we have to confront some truly mind-boggling realities.
Okay, just look at the sheer jump in scale on this chart. The space station is just a tiny 400 kilometers up. The moon? That's 1,000 times farther. But Mars, even at its absolute closest approach, it's over 140 times farther away than the moon. We're not talking about a trip to the next town over. This is like crossing a vast cosmic ocean.
And all that distance? Well, it translates directly into time. A lot of time. A trip to the ISS takes a few hours. The Apollo astronauts took about 3 days to get to the moon. But a one-way trip to Mars, we're talking months. This creates huge challenges for everything from crew health and psychology to just the sheer amount of food and water you need to pack.
And then there's this, the communication delay, which might be the biggest operational hurdle of them all. To the moon, it's a few seconds, totally manageable. But to Mars, we're looking at a one-way delay of up to 24 minutes. Think about that. You send a question and could wait almost an hour for the reply. There's no real-time conversation. You can't just call, Houston, we have a problem, and get instant advice. The crew has to be more self-sufficient than any in history.
And this quote from NASA's own research just drives the point home perfectly. It's not just one thing, it's that combination of mind-bending distance, months of travel, and near-total communication isolation that makes a Mars mission such a monumental undertaking.
But here's the thing about monumental undertakings. NASA has a playbook for this. They've tackled seemingly impossible goals before, and they did it by using a proven step-by-step approach. So if the challenge is that immense, where do you possibly start? You don't just, build a giant rocket and point it at Mars. You start by looking back at how you solved the last impossible problem. You start with the basics. You learn to crawl, then you learn to walk, and only then do you even attempt to run. And this isn't just some cute metaphor. It's the exact proven blueprint NASA used to get us to the moon in the first place.
And check this out, this slide lays it out perfectly. Project Mercury was the crawl phase, just proving we could get humans into space and bring them back safely. Then came Gemini, the walk phase. This is where they mastered all the hard stuff, staying in space for longer periods, doing spacewalks, and docking 2 spacecraft together in orbit. It was only by mastering all those steps that they could finally attempt the run with Apollo, putting all those lessons together to actually land on the moon.
So fast forward to today, and NASA is applying that exact same blueprint to the Mars challenge. And the crucial intermediate step, that walk phase, it's returning to the moon with the Artemis missions. And this is a really critical point to get. Going back to the moon isn't a distraction from Mars. As NASA puts it, the two are deeply entwined. The moon is the proving ground. It's where we're going to test out all the technologies and procedures we need for the red planet.
And what's really cool is how specific this testing is. We'll learn how to operate systems in the moon's 1/6 gravity, which gives us a huge head start from Mars's 1/3 gravity. We can test brand new technologies like nuclear power or using local resources, that's ISRU, in a place where, if something breaks, home is only a few days away. This lets us figure out all the procedures and study crew health, basically chipping away at the huge risks before we try a multi-year Mars journey where turning back just isn't an option.
And you can literally see that direct connection right here. The hardware we're designing for the moon, like these pressurized rovers and surface habitats, is being built from day one with Mars in mind. Every lesson we learn building and using this stuff on the moon will be directly plugged into the designs for their Martian cousins.
So what's the whole point of this strategy?
Well, it all boils down to one thing: making that first human mission to Mars as safe and as successful as it can possibly be. Every single step is about systematically tackling the incredible risks one by one.
This quote from NASA really says it all. Every single thing learned during the Artemis missions, from the tech to the operations to the effects on the human body, is designed to make that first Mars mission safer and more achievable.
And that right there, that's the whole idea behind this evolutionary roadmap. It's not a bunch of separate projects. It's one single integrated plan, where each step logically builds on the last one. Our decades of experience in low Earth orbit, the crawl, made the Artemis missions to the moon, the walk, possible. And that, in turn, is what's going to empower the first crewed missions to Mars, the run.
So you see, this roadmap, it's more than just blueprints and rocket science. It's also a kind of philosophy. It's guided by a clear vision and a set of core principles for how this massive undertaking is actually going to be managed.
And here they are, the 5 guiding principles for this whole journey. Fly often just means learning and getting better quickly from real-world experience. Build beautiful machines is NASA's way of saying they want robust, simple, excellent engineering. And the last 3 you see here. They acknowledge a really important reality. A project this big isn't just about exploring. It's also about boosting domestic manufacturing, pushing American innovation, and being really smart about how public money is spent.
And in the end, this is what it's all for. Every step in that roadmap, every single lesson learned in orbit and on the moon, it's all designed to make this image a reality. Humans living and working on the surface of another planet. And that really is the ultimate takeaway here. The journey back to the moon and the journey onward to Mars, they're just 2 parts of the same grand adventure. By taking these deliberate evolutionary steps, we are methodically and safely putting the red planet, once a distant dream, finally within our reach.